Elizabeth Fadley just wanted to give her daughter Kayla the best Christmas ever. She knew Kayla loved dolls and collected porcelain dolls from around the world. This one, however, had an eerie feeling emanating off it. It just felt off. How was she to know that the doll had been cursed by forces far beyond her control? "Oh my God, Mom, this is the coolest doll I've gotten yet. How did you know?" shrieked Kayla as she opened her Christmas present. "Oh, Mother knows, darling," smiled Elizabeth as she watched her daughter dance around the living room with the doll. She would soon find out that she didn't know nearly as much as she thought, as the doll started to behave strangely. Elizabeth went to bed that night delighted with herself. She had made her daughter's Christmas. Give that woman the parenting award. Then it crawled up behind her. Elizabeth let out a blood-curdling scream, and she nearly hit the ceiling in terror. "Mom, it's just me," laughed Kayla, popping out from behind the corner. Elizabeth felt her pulse slow. It was just a joke. Then it happened for real. Kayla was home alone one day when she started hearing the noises. The first time it happened when she was playing video games in the living room, completely zoned out. She heard a loud thud coming from the hallway, where her doll Stacy was. She stood up in fear. She thought it was just her here. She was about to find out she was very wrong. Kayla was really scared at this point. "Hello," she called out. No one answered. Then she heard another thud coming from the hallway. That was it. She had to find out what it was. She opened the door a crack to peer through when she saw it. A changeling. Stacy wasn't on her regular stand, and in her place was another weird-looking doll lying in the blanket box in the hall. The blanket box had been closed when she had walked past, not an hour before. Kayla was terrified. The doll stared her down, and Kayla knew that getting her been a bad idea. She hadn't even found the pale white substance inside her yet. Kayla was horrified. What was that, and where was Stacy? Was the changeling doll evil? She started to have a panic attack and caught herself just in time to call her mother. "Mom, Mom, you've got to come home. It's Stacy. She's been possessed. I need you." "Oh God, what was that? Mom, hurry. She's coming back." "Kayla, are you for real? I had a really important meeting today and you call me home for this?" "She looks exactly the same. You need to grow up and stop letting your imagination run away with itself." "You fooled me once with this doll. I'm not falling for it again," said Elizabeth angrily. Somehow Stacy had returned to her spot, exactly as she was before, and the changeling has mysteriously vanished. That night Elizabeth was proven wrong and saw for herself the true evil of Stacy. Elizabeth and Kayla returned to the weird little doll shop that Elizabeth had purchased her in. They approached the counter and told the woman behind the counter what Stacy was doing. "Ah, you're the third person this week and about that. Dan Colombians," said the shop worker. "What do you mean?" said Elizabeth, who was confused. "Our dolls come from a Colombian doll company that we're pretty sure are actually voodoo doll makers. We really need to change suppliers," sighed the woman. "Speaking of Colombians, I bet you they tried the old trick," she said, pulling the doll's head off. From out of the doll's hollow body, she pulled out a massive bag of white powder. Cocaine? Elizabeth was speechless. She couldn't believe she had exposed her child to this whole ordeal, and the drugs had just been the worst icing on top of the cake. She was the worst mother ever. She should hand in her self-appointed award she gave herself before. "Madam, are you okay?" asked the shop assistant. "I think there's a way we can resolve this." "Tell you what, madam, I'll give you your money back for that awful doll, and I'll get rid of the remains," said the shop worker. "Especially the drugs. I'll definitely take care of those," she said earnestly. Elizabeth smiled and thanked her as she handed her $20 back. She put her arm around Kayla and left the store. Their ordeal was finally over.